but it's a great idea.
Okay,
wait, we're live right now, dude. We're live right now.
No, we're not. Oh, we are live.
No, we are.
Sorry about that. My bad.
I don't know if it's full screen either.
No, it's not. We're all there. My bad. Sorry about that.
Perfect. Well, hi, it's the Bitcoin Morning Brief. I'm Leo Wall, Tone Bays is here, and Jimmy is by mobile phone, still at Consensus. We're already in. Jimmy, how's it going?
I am good. My voice is being lost very quickly. So yeah, hopefully if I sound a little off, that's why.
Tone, too much consensus?
Yeah, a little too much consensus. I decided to stay home this morning, mostly because there is a very late night event. Tonight starts at 7, goes till midnight. You're already wearing the bracelet. Yeah, that's right. Jimmy's going to be on there.
Yeah, well, you better go and grab it. They closed the registration at 2.
No, I have it. I got it yesterday. I got the bracelet yesterday. I have it on me. I'm going to drive straight to that decentral cruise. Because me and Jimmy did the math yesterday on winning one of the Aston Martins. It's definitely cost effective to attend.
Well, I don't know. Appearance fee of 500 seems a little bit cheap to me, given your celebrity status, Tone.
So it's a cruise?
Yeah. Yeah, it's on a yacht. It's on a yacht. Yes.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. Well,
yeah. So I'm just gonna drive, and I'm gonna park like near there. And when I win the Aston Martin, I'll have to figure out how to drive 2 cars back.
I can drive it. Oh, actually, I can't drive.
I don't think they'll let you drive it off the boat, man. I think you need to like register and give your
they're gonna scam me even after I win. Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That's what's gonna happen. It's all a scam, buddy. It's all a scam.
That's for damn sure. All right, Ledger. So, okay. So we have LedgerX launches first CFTC regulated Bitcoin savings account. So Ledger's launched a new Bitcoin savings product for hodlers, which has 2 different CFTC licenses that allow investors to earn a yield in fiat on their Bitcoin holdings, which allows for an override. So Tone, what do you think about what Ledger's doing? And also, can you explain what a covered call options are?
Sure. Now we're in my wheelhouse. So I have not had time. Like I've been actually meaning to go onto Ledger's website and get certified so I can actually trade Bitcoin options. I just haven't had the time to do that. But basically, what they're offering is an easy way for you to store. I mean, you would have to store your Bitcoin with them. So obviously, you are giving up your private key. LedgerX seem to know what they're doing. We'll see. I mean, they're not, they haven't been hacked yet. So that everything is good on that front. Hopefully it stays that way. And they are providing options in Bitcoin. So what they're doing is if you store your Bitcoin with them, you can do it yourself, or you can go through their kind of automated process where you sell something called a covered call. So what you're doing is, so here's an example. Let's say you let them hold 10 Bitcoin of yours. And right now, the price of Bitcoin is about $8,300. So you can write a covered call saying, hey, I will sell you my Bitcoin for $9,000 sometime between now and let's say the end of June. So you're writing a contract where someone has the right to buy Bitcoin from you for $9,000, but the current price of Bitcoin is $8,300, and you're getting a premium for that. Like someone will pay you. I'm not sure how much it is. You have to look at their website to see the premiums. But I do this in the option space in the traditional market all the time. So someone will pay you a premium, and then they have this contract that says you have to sell them the Bitcoin for $9,000. So obviously, if the price of Bitcoin doesn't go above $9,000 by the end of June, then you just get to keep that premium and the contract expires. If the price of Bitcoin goes above $9,000, they will execute the contract and buy Bitcoin from you for $9,000. So that's what a call option is. So when you buy in a call option, it's kind of like, okay, well, I think Bitcoin is going to go really high over the next month, but I don't want to pay for that Bitcoin all out right now. I'm just going to pay, you know, let's say 5% of the price of Bitcoin or 10% of the price of Bitcoin, and I'm going to hold this contract. And if Bitcoin doesn't go up that high, then I'm just going to lose that contract. It's almost like an insurance policy, but put contracts are the opposite of calls, and they act more like insurance.
Jimmy, what did you think about the article and their latest service offering?
Well, I'm a fan of LedgerX and the whole options offering. Having a savings account makes sense. I think it's sort of a custody sort of solution. I know Brian Bishop, core dev, worked there to make that very, very solid. So, you know, at least that's why I've been thinking about, you know, selling possibly a call option or something like that. It's a good way to sort of get cash out without actually selling the Bitcoin. If you want to get some of the upside and sell a part of the upside, that this is actually a nice vehicle to do it. I wish it were more common, but yeah, I mean, the thing with Bitcoin is that it needs a full reserve. So, you know, storage ends up becoming really, really critical for these types of items. So it's a good move. I hope they have more products like this and they continue, you know, that it gets more liquidity, volume, all that stuff, because I think it's a good way to do things.
Yeah, well, one quick final comment on this. So call options are absolutely perfect for stocks that you like holding that are that don't go up too much, or stocks that you are so familiar with that you kind of have an idea of how high they can go up. So you continue to sell these call options to people that aren't as aware of them so that they don't actually execute. And then you can roll them over. So basically, I'm selling a call option that Bitcoin will not go up above 9,000 by the end of June. And then with, like, you know, a week or so to go before expiration, I'm like, hey, you know what? The price is actually getting close to 9,000. I can just sell this, buy this option back, and then I'll sell a new one. So it's also good for, let's say you're holding Bitcoin right now and you think Bitcoin's going to go up. It's going to go, but you think Bitcoin's going to go up to 10,000, and you are absolutely happy to sell that Bitcoin at 10,000. You would sell call options on the Bitcoin that you have, and if it goes to 10,000, boom, it automatically gets taken off your hands for 10,000, and you own the premium on selling the contract. So it's like, so you're getting extra money for selling Bitcoin at a price that you wanted to sell it at anyway.
Great. Thanks, both of you. Thanks, Tone, for the explanation. And definitely, I like it in that it does seem like a less complicated way, at least right now, for the LedgerX's current customers. Definitely, everything that is being done is still complicated, but I do think it's streamlining in a good way. Definitely a fan of LedgerX too. All right, HTC. Actually, Tone, I have your tweet here, to be honest. I'm gonna just pull that up really quickly. Yes, it is a great title, HTC. So HTC announces Exodus, new smartphone for decentralized Bitcoin and Ethereum apps. So actually decentralized apps is, I think, there we go. So they've announced a native blockchain smartphone called Exodus, which is dedicated to run decentralized applications. So Jimmy, I'll let you take this one off. What do you think about what they're up to?
I have no idea what they're up to. It does sound like they have maybe a vision of being nodes for some sort of network or something like that. It's not entirely clear what they're going to put on there, other than just sort of apps on their store or something. I don't know. I have trouble parsing this.
As did I. Also, just as a follow-up, what also confused me is that it says that they're going to support underlying protocols, but including Bitcoin, Lightning Networks, Ethereum, Affinity, and others that they plan on adding in the future as well. So quite a lot of protocols. Comment? Jimmy?
Yeah.
I mean, how is that possible? What are they?
I don't know. I guess it could have a Lightning wallet or something, but I mean, and that would be a decentralized network. Sorry, but yeah, it's hard for me to say exactly what they're aiming for. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those stories where they're announcing the intention to do something, and you don't really know what they're talking about until much later, and if it comes to fruition in any way.
True. And to your point, Jimmy, they've said they're only announcing it. Tone, what did you think?
I found one part hilarious that I couldn't help. I tweeted out this morning. If you scroll up a little bit, that one, perfect. Yeah. So they have a decentralized chief officer, Jimmy, over at HTC now.
That's an oxymoron if I ever saw one.
Yeah, true.
So again, it's this push to be a centralized company to create decentralized applications, decentralized people's data. Now, look, you can provide, good privacy and good encryption for the data. Decentralizing that data is actually very, very difficult. You're still, as a company, will probably keep a backup of everybody's data. You can choose to encrypt that data so even your own company can't see it. But now you're putting the users in control of their own data. And if your user loses the password and your answer to them is, I'm sorry, we don't store your data unencrypted, and now the user is going to be pissed at you. There's no good solutions here, right? The other thing is, it's kind of great that HTC is doing this, but people have to realize that the cell phone network provider and the country where that cell phone is going to be sold is who's going to dictate the terms. For example, most of the phones that I have used, most of the Android phones, like even the new Samsung that comes out, the Samsung Galaxy that comes out, I was going to buy it. I haven't gotten around to it yet. The Nexus phone that I currently have, they're made as dual SIM phones. But guess what? America doesn't sell dual SIM phones, right? So America mandates these companies that manufacture the phones, like, hey, I know it's a dual SIM phone, but you better remove that second dual SIM functionality if you want that phone to be sold in the US. Also, different countries make them use different processor chips. There's Qualcomm and there's the Snapdragon one, and then there's another one. Like, it's not going to be really up to them, right? So if the American cell phone carriers tell them that they can't have this functionality in the phone, if they want this phone to be sold in America, they're either going to have to remove it to be sold in America so that the company makes money, or they're going to lose the American market. So again, like it sounds really fun to build decentralized applications. In reality, if someone more important than you can call you on the phone and tell you to stop, you're going to stop.
Right. And to your point, when moving on, Jimmy and Tony definitely told me enough that I should get rid of my iPhone, but I'm, as of right now, not going to switch it with the HTC. So we'll see what happens. All right. Cryptocurrency startup Circle raised 110 mil for Ethereum coin backed by the United States dollars. That is massive. So Circle closed a massive round, and it's led by Bitmain. And they're going to be launching the Circle USSDC, which is the United States dollar coin, which is going to be on Ethereum and backed by the United States dollar. Tone, what are your thoughts on this? I'll switch you right over.
Hey, sorry, Jimmy, I muted you, so I hope you know how to unmute when your time is to talk. Otherwise, I might be able to unmute you. Okay, we'll give that a try after. All right, so look, I was never a fan of Circle. I was never a big fan of Jeremy Allaire, and I'll tell you why. The first Bitcoin conference I've ever attended in my life was in April of 2014. It was the Inside Bitcoins in New York, and Jeremy Allaire was the keynote speaker. And during that speech, he talked about how the Federal Reserve should have a say in Bitcoin's future direction. That's what he said back in 2014. So I was never a fan ever since I heard that. And I have an article, I mentioned it in one of my blog posts on Liberty Life Trail from back in around that time, April, May 2014. And everything that they've done is pretty much to try and centralize. So now what they're apparently trying to do, which I think is like completely stupid, they're trying to put the US dollar on top of Ethereum. And like it's like Jimmy said in his debate with Joe Lubin, is that when you try to decentralize something centralized, you're getting the worst of both worlds. You're getting the inefficiency of a blockchain in a centralized application that now will have even more central points of failure than it did before. So this makes absolutely no sense technologically, economically, other than, hey, if some fools are willing to give you $136 million, sure, you will try to make it sound as important as possible, no matter how silly it actually is. Let me see if I can unmute Jimmy. Yeah, I could.
I think, Jimmy, you can hear me though. Hey, Jimmy,
Yeah,
thoughts on this story, and also afterwards, we have a quote here by Circle's co-founder. We're trying to build the equivalent of Amazon while we're also building the HTTP. It seems as if this story, definitely, I want to hear your thoughts on US dollar coin on Ethereum, but it also seems like they're trying to build out a whole bunch of things. So if you could comment on what you think about this story, and also what are they up to?
Well, they're making some terrible analogies, but yeah, it just sounds like they're building something. They're trying to hype it up, and of course, everyone knows Amazon's done well. Everyone knows HTTP's done well. So they're more or less trying to ride the hype train. It sounds like what they're trying to do is some sort of a stable coin. I have no idea how that's going to work or how they peg it to the dollar, and figuring out what that peg is or how that peg works is going to be critical to seeing the economics of it. But that said, we know Ethereum's kind of centralized. So like adding something centralized on top of something centralized is normal. And it might work, it might not. It will have lots of choke points and regulation points. So I think this is kind of asking for a lot of trouble, because pretty much anyone that trades this token is going to be a money transmitter because it's backed by the US dollar or something. I don't know. So yeah, maybe you have to register as with a money transmitter license in order to do it. We know Bitmain has a lot of money. I am going to guess that they're going to have some Bitcoin Cash equivalent on Ethereum at some point, so you could do atomic swaps. But I have no idea. Yeah, that's just my guess.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and I would guess that they probably will have AML KYC transactions, obviously. And Tone, just a final cap. Do you think users of Tether are going to move over to this USD token?
Probably. Well, I don't know. No, I'm saying probably. Look, I think one of the reasons why a lot of people are actually using Tether is because of its big question marks. Like, Bitfinex may or may not be shady. Tether may or may not be shady. The money may or may not be there. So people are fairly comfortable using something that may be shady for shady purposes. It works well. So what happens with Circle, and I mean, Bitmain is, we kind of call it shady because of the Bcash thing, but in reality, Bitmain is pretty, well-run, respected company, even though we don't agree with, their stance on Bitcoin and stuff, but they're a legitimate company. Circle is a legitimate company regulated by the US. The Goldman Sachs backing of Circle is legitimate, right? So this USD coin made by Circle might be a little too legitimate to be used for, 12, 13-year-olds trading anonymous transactions, right? They may not want to take a chance. They'd rather stick with the shadiness of Tether for what they're doing instead of going with something like the USD Circle.
Right, very interesting. Thank you. And just a note on Crunchbase, this pushes their round amount of money. They've raised 246 mil in total. This is a Series E, so it's massive amounts of money. So we'll follow what they're up to. All right, gentlemen, Bitcoin Jesus, Bcash, hard fork increases block size, reactivates op nodes. And of course it was announced yesterday regarding, might as well try to throw news into all the different news going on with consensus. Jimmy, the hell is up with Bcash? Oh, you're on mute, Tone.
Well, I didn't mute him. I can unmute him.
Sorry. Yeah. There we go. Sorry. So I think the title has a spelling error. It's reactivates op codes, not op nodes. But basically what
I thought that was weird. I was reading the article. I'm like, oh, Jimmy's going to have to explain this because
I didn't know.
Yeah, so basically they had a hard fork yesterday. From what I hear, the network has split and like both chains are being mined. So it's kind of a disaster. I think we've been warning about this with hard forks for a very long time. So can I just say, I told you so. Anyway, I mean, it's not a network that I care too much about. I guess if you have Bitcoin Cash, you might have some extra Bitcoin Cash fork coins. Let's wait for the first exchange to accept deposits for Bitcoin Cash Classic versus Bitcoin Cash, I don't know, new or upgrade or something. I don't know. They're gonna have to choose names that aren't taken because there are already like hundreds of Bitcoin forks at this point. So, but yeah, I mean, they not everyone upgrades. Right? You can't force it on everybody. That's a centralization point. And even people in Bitcoin Cash are like, hey, I'm not going to be forced to upgrade. So I don't know how this is going to play out, but it's definitely worth watching.
Right. And also noted that this is the first of several planned upgrades for the currency coming, of course. Tone, what did you think?
I mean, it's exactly what we've been talking about. Bcash is a centralized Chinese coin. And they will try to upgrade it at any time. I mean, it looks like they're trying to hard fork as often now as they can, because I think even they know that in the future it's going to be difficult, right? I mean, we all know what giant, traffic and transaction, problems that they're having. There are so many transactions on Bcash right now that they are forced to go from 8 megabytes to 32 megabytes, right? I mean, come on, guys, let's talk about reality here for a second. The only reason why they're doing this hard fork is so that they can get away with it now, because they ain't going to be able to get away with it later, because this is completely silly. And not everyone's going to upgrade because I mean, the majority of the users of Bcash aren't that bright to begin with because they're using Bcash, right? So do you really expect a lot of them to even know how to upgrade software? So we'll see what happens. They're going to literally hard fork by default because of this. And I mean, it's totally irrelevant. I'm actually like, when I saw this story come up, I'm like, I don't see why we're covering it. It's really not important what's going on there. It's like Dogecoin having a hard fork. It's really not relevant to anybody.
Well, I think it's relevant in the sense that we get to watch what happens from a technical perspective. And there are some learnings that you can get about how hard forks actually happen on the network. So from that perspective, I definitely.
So Jimmy, so here's a question for you, right? So what happens how does this affect those that haven't pulled out their Bcash yet? And,
so they'll have they'll have the same amount on both forks of Bitcoin Cash.
Oh, that's interesting, right? So isn't there now incentive for people that still have their Bcash on both sides on the original Bitcoin chain that still have not pulled out their Bcash to kind of try to make sure that both of those survive and both of those are relevant, because now you can, split your Bitcoin onto yet another hard fork of a hard fork.
Well, there have been Bitcoin Cash hard forks in the past. There was one called Bitcoin Candy and Bitcoin Classic. I don't know if you remember both of them, but I think there will be many more like this.
No, but those are different. Those are a little different, right?
No. Classic was almost exactly the same in the sense that they did a hard fork to change the EDA, and that caused the original to be called Classic, and Bitcoin Cash kept the hard fork.
Yeah, but a hard fork to change the EDA is not the same as multiplying your block size by.
Well, I mean, obviously the features are different, but the actual hard fork mechanics are exactly the same.
Right. No, but I mean the features. I'm talking about the features, right? So even the crazies that thought that an 8 megabyte block was, just right. There'll be just as many crazies thinking that going to a 32 block from there, it might be a little too much. And they're probably going to go from 32 to, I don't know, they're going to go probably 128 or 256. I have no idea, right? But they do want, a gigabyte block. That was
I don't
by Twiddledee and Twiddledum over there.
Oh, Peter Risen. But yeah. I mean, I wouldn't worry too much. Like you said, it's fascinating from a technical perspective. Economically, I don't see these having any power at all. And it'll just keep splintering. And soon it gets like the number of forks just kind of gets exponential. And it, again, needs lots and lots of developers. And there's a limited amount of those, so I'm not sure what the hell happens, but it's this sort of crap keeps happening, and yeah, we'll watch. But are we doing the mempool now?
Mempool is up when you're ready. I guess just one last note is I had a lot of friends ask about what the heck this meant yesterday, and I think that potentially it's just making Bcash more and more confusing for potential adopters. So potentially it's good for Bitcoin in the long run. That also failing.
Also speaking of Bcash, check out my interview with Ray Youssef of Paxful, who basically, I mean, he was telling me horror stories about how many people they were dealing with over at Paxful that sent their Bitcoin to Bcash, and they had to go and retrieve all of that until they eventually said, we're not doing this anymore. We're done. We're not helping you. If you screw up and you send your Bcash into Bitcoin addresses or the other way around, we're not helping you anymore. I mean, they couldn't take it anymore. They had so much trouble with people that were screwing up because of Bcash's existence that it was really frustrating to them, and they don't support Bcash anymore either.
Right, absolutely. Jimmy, weather report?
Yeah, so after this, I'm going to have to leave. But it looks like pretty much everything, all of that activity has died down. Obviously, there was kind of a little bit of a sell-off, so I think that might have affected the 8 a.m. BitMEX thing. But yeah, you can get in transactions for 0 to 1 Satoshi per byte, pretty much today, within a few hours at least. Next block, you're probably going to have to pay upwards of 20, 30, something like that. But yeah, I mean, no big spikes. I think activity slowed down. No consensus pump, it looks like. So we're all good.
Yeah, how about that consensus pump, guys? How about it, right? Here's your consensus pump.
All right, guys, this song is done. I'm going to leave. Bye.
Bye, Jimmy.
Bye, Jimmy. Yeah, here's your consensus pump right here. Here's the week of consensus, and you are down from an opening of $8,700 with a high of $8,900 to a low of $8,100, right? So from high to low, this week is down $800 on a $9,000 asset, so almost 10%. Okay, so there's your consensus pump. Just like I told all of you like a week ago leading into consensus that the concept of a consensus pump for the price of Bitcoin is ridiculous. The pump lasted about half a day. I'll show it to you when we go to like the 4-hour charts. It lasted like 3 or 4 hours. Basically, mostly because of the hype that there are some people magically decided that there was a consensus pump. I mean, these things are totally ridiculous. Stop buying into bullshit, people. Learn how to trade and do it yourself. Don't blame other people and don't follow other people. Learn how to trade, do it yourself. I'm trying to help you here, but you got to do it yourself. All right, here's the weekly chart. The weekly chart is price flipping. That's bad, but technically neutral because it's a red one. You are below the 30-week moving average. That's bad. You are now trading below the 7-week moving average. That is also bad. You are once again approaching the 50-week moving average. I do not believe that the 50-week moving average is going to hold Bitcoin again for the second time. We did not, there was a big gap between the down spike back in February and the 50-week moving average. The 50-week moving average got pierced for 3 weeks in a row without a single close under the 50-day moving average. That means the 50-day moving average did its job and it held. I do not believe it's going to hold again. It might hold it for a week, might hold it for 2 weeks, but I believe it's going to break down, okay? We remain looking fairly identical to what happened in Bitcoin in 2014, okay? Again, you are currently right here. Now, back in 2014, it's either this candle here or the candle after. Now, you can see how the candle after, this is back in June 23rd, 2014 candle, it actually dropped below the 7-week moving average, but rallied above it at the end of the week, but still giving you a red one. That's probably exactly what we're looking at now. Do I think it's going to rally at the end of the week to close back above the 50-week moving average, the 7-week moving average? I honestly don't think so. So also back then, the 7-week moving average went back up and crossed above the 30-week moving average, but the 30-week moving average had already started going down. We have not yet seen the 30-week moving average start to go down yet, okay? So because Bitcoin was kind of stronger back then. So the 30-week moving average has not yet gone down, so it might take, it might be hard for the 7-week to cross back above it. And if you're a bear, you don't really want it to close above it because that's a bullish sign unless the 30-week is trending down. So I am looking for this week to close in the current vicinity or lower. I believe that the 50-week can hold us up for a week or two. So I'm not actually expecting a breakdown below 7,600 in the month of May, though it's possible. I am, however, expecting a breakdown below 7,600 in the month of July. In case you're wondering when I expect to win my bet against Doug Polk, I expect that to win that. Sorry, I meant June, not July, to break down below 7,600. I'm expecting to win that bet sometime in July. That's my current expectation on winning the bet of the 6,000. But we'll see. Again, markets are unpredictable. All we're trying to do is have a probabilistic outlook of what can happen. So here is the daily chart. As you can see, we did not print our 9. If the candle was to close maybe an hour later, we probably would have gotten our 9, which would have been, I guess, cool to have an up arrow here. But guess what? We did not get a 9. So there was never a real buying opportunity based on this particular indicator. And we have now broken down even lower. Now, if you look at my arrows, I expected us to be at the current price around this time. I mean, kind of 12 hours ago, I expected it, but it was close. When I drew this arrow, remember, I always draw my arrows. The front part of the arrow is always the day that I draw the arrow of the candle that is happening or the following candle. So I must have drawn this arrow back in May 9th or the day before May 9th. So go back to those videos. And I expected us to bounce off the 50-day moving average, come back and back test the $8,800 area. But we did that earlier. And I also said in the prior videos that I believe that the back test of the 8,800 area has already taken place. So I'm not actually expecting the price to go back to 8,800. At this point, I am expecting it to break down. I mean, I can either delete these arrows or leave them there or draw new ones. But at this point, like, I don't want to clutter the chart too much, but I also don't want any like revisionist history on what I draw. So at this point, I am expecting Bitcoin to go lower. I mean, I don't know if this trend line even means anything. I am expecting us to go lower here. I'm going to just only draw this arrow here for the next couple of days. I'm not expecting it to go much lower all that quickly. even though that may sound a little bit like a contradiction when I go to the 12-hour chart. What I would have said in the 12-hour chart is that once we go below this line, below this $8,400 line, I'm expecting us to accelerate quickly to the downside. But I'm only expecting us to accelerate quickly to the downside until we get to this area here. So so somewhere in this vicinity, I am going to expect another bounce. So and you can see how the MACD hasn't crossed over. So maybe I drew it too much. Hold on a second. That's 3. This is 4. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I am expecting us to go into the vicinity of 7,800. I just don't see the $8,000 number as being relevant at all. I am looking for a 9 on a 12-hour chart in the vicinity of 7,800. That actually goes real well with, actually that line is lower. That line is around 76. So maybe I can see it going as low as 7,600 based on the 50-week moving average, but that's your vicinity. So somewhere between 76 and 78, okay, that's your next level of support. Now, I believe this support will bounce the price maybe as high as 8,400, the current breakdown level, okay? Oops, not what I meant to draw. After we get back to this under 8,000, I can definitely see a bounce back up to this red line before coming back to 7,800 and then breaking down lower. That's exactly what the charts are telling me, but you guys need to, make your own trading decisions. Do I see anything on the daily CMF? I don't. I see very weak buying. The OBV is trending down. Everything is working against you here as far as momentum is concerned. The RSI is not even oversold on a 12-hour. The MACD continues to go down. Let's look at the 4-hour. I have all 4 of my indicators up here. You do have divergence here, which I'll talk about in a minute. I don't have my, I guess I cleaned the chart up a little bit. Let's put the indicator back up. I don't have the moving averages either, but we'll get the indicator back up, okay? So we did go a little bit lower overnight. Look at this combo 13, aggressive 13, and the traditional 13 is still on a 9 of 13. We went as low as 8,100, bounced back a little bit. We are on a 7. So in order to get an 8, so we have 2 more hours to go. We would need to close fairly low. We need to close at a new low to get to an 8 and then probably get a 9. That doesn't look like it's likely to happen. It looks like we will get stuck here for a bit. Let's see if we see anything useful here. So there is some divergence. So you can see right here that there is divergence in the RSI, but it's still just a 4-hour chart, guys. I mean, take the 4-hour chart with a little bit of a grain of salt. I know the TI indicator works great, but here is a RSI divergence. See how you made a lower low, but in the price, but your RSI was higher. Your MACD also had divergence. It's hard for me to draw it on here. There it is, right? And whoa, well, I should have done that. And same, no, then I don't see the price. Same thing with your CMF, right? Look at this huge divergence on the CMF. So this is where, and OBV as well. I don't want to keep drawing these lines, right? So this would have been a decent chance to buy once the price turned, but it looks like it's struggling here to break back above the breakdown level of, the $8,300 area, $8,300, $8,400 area of breakdown. But this is very strong divergence on a 4-hour chart, but your weekly and your daily and your 12-hour are just going to trump it. This is the kind of divergence you want to see on a daily chart, and that is something that can lead to a substantial up move. Whether it's a short-term up move or the beginning of a long-term up move will be yet to be determined. But right now, you are looking at divergence on a 4-hour chart, which is why it's possible that we're going to get stuck here for a bit, maybe go higher a little bit. But this divergence looks pretty damn strong, especially with the CMF, okay? I'm going to be looking more at this. Now that I've spent a week down in Miami chatting with Nick, he's a big CMF guy, OBV guy. I really should bring those indicators back into my analysis because they're very, very useful. So this is a great example of divergence. Here's the hourly chart. We fell under the cloud and boom, everything kind of dropped. Beautiful bounce right here off the 9. A 9 buy came in absolutely perfectly here. However, like the hourly chart is not looking too hot, right? Like look at the CMF. It's not showing you divergence. In fact, it's showing you the complete opposite in that the selling is picking up as we go lower, right? And so there's no divergence with the CMF. The OBV is kind of flat at the lows. And you're stuck below resistance in anything that involves a cloud, even though I'm not an expert in the cloud. So it's not looking all that great. Just to look at traditional markets, because I haven't seen much. Oh, that's not good. Tyler should be scaling back on gold. Is that right, Leah? Look at this weekly candle that just
what we spoke about this morning.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet, but I will. He has to be scaling out of gold. It just broke 2 of his moving averages.
Exactly what we said.
Yeah. So, yep. So there it is, right? So that's not looking too good. Let's see what we got here. So we do have a 9 sell on the NASDAQ, but look, it's a pretty big day. So that was my line. We're above my line. I would not mind it bouncing off that line. It almost did. I know it's a 9 sell, but that didn't hold. It still could hold. You still have 2 more days to go. So we could get a straight up 9, which is a selling opportunity, but I'm only going to look for a 1 to 4 candle correction and then back to the upside. This should be the daily S&P. Nope, it's the weekly S&P. Again, I would need the S&P to go above this line for me to be officially bullish the S&P 500. I would need it to go above 2,800. And then I'm bullish for the rest of the year of the S&P 500, though it does look borderline scary. But if we get, let me count the candles here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that means next candle knocks out the lowest close, and it makes every close above this guy. So I would say that if next week is trading above current week, the 7-week moving average of the S&P will be above the 30-week, and they're all rising. And then Tyler would also have to go bullish the S&P 500, though I would want to see a break of 2,800 for that to be official. All right, I am home at the moment. There is a whole disaster behind me in my apartment. This is what happens. It's a busy week, consensus week. It's become my place is becoming a total mess. So there you go. Here's the full shot of it. And lots of boxes, new monitors, new tech. And next week should be a lot better. No more conferences. And yeah, unfortunately, Leah isn't joining me on this cruise like she was going to because someone had to play soccer. But we'll definitely see you next year for this conference, Leah.
For sure. 2 questions for you, though, really quickly.
Sure. I got plenty of time. The boat don't depart till 6.
You're going to bring your streaming equipment to the cruise?
I am. I do want to try to stream from there. We'll do like another boat cruise. Oh, I'm not going to ruin the surprise who might be sitting next to me there. Let's just say it might be very, very similar to the San Francisco boost cruise.
Oh boy. All right. Second, so I think it was a little fun interview that you got people on yesterday. I had fun co-hosting, but I was just wondering your thoughts on your special interview with the token. He, she, them.
It was a she. It was a she, and I thought it was a she. And someone was like, "Oh, it was funny, right?" Because we were talking about.
Yeah. You say she, however, you don't know her preferred pronoun, but yes, continue.
Jesus, only in America. Only in America, by the way.
How was the token interview?
No, it was, you know, I kind of almost feel bad for these people, right? Like literally they get paid to walk around in costumes selling stuff they know nothing about, right? Look, if you're gonna be, you know, prancing around in a token costume, I want it to be the CEO of the damn token so they can properly discuss it, right? So if you're gonna hire, you know, a bunch of mascots, no, you get a C-level manager, you put them in that damn suit, put your effort where your money is, or put your effort where your scam is, do it yourself.
She, just a spoiler for everybody, correct. She didn't even know what the company was of the token, or whatever her pronoun is, nor what the company did, or even the token's name. So that was that was a fun one. Although you got a starburst out of it.
I did, but I obviously didn't need it, but.
So semi-support for that ICO. No, just kidding. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Tone, looking forward to the interview from the
yeah. Oh, one more thing. No, we're not done yet. One more, I totally forgot. Okay. Hey guys, so I will be doing my workshop in Philly, but there's also now a meetup. There is a meetup that's gonna take place in Philly, and Friday evening. So here it is, Friday, May 18th. I should add it to I'll tweet this out. I should also add it to the YouTube description. I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to do a presentation or just a trading Bitcoin. These are not going to be the topics. These are the topics of my workshop. So we need to change something in the meetup. But yeah, so I'll either do like a live trading Bitcoin, or I'll do a presentation, or I'll do like an Andreas style Q&A. But there is a meetup. And here's the information. Go to meetup.com, Bitcoin Philadelphia, meetup this Friday night. I'm going to drive down there on Friday afternoon. And now that's it. But yeah, so I know people wanted me to interview ICOs and kind of like embarrass the ICOs or be sarcastic with the ICOs. Maybe I'll do that today from the boat. Yesterday, I kind of wanted to interview people that are in the Bitcoin space, not in the ICO space. But maybe tonight on the boat, I'll try to set up a table, and then we'll interview whoever walks over. Hopefully they'll have tequila for me on the boat. I'm down to 2 drinks. I'm down to either tequila or champagne. Those are my 2 drinks for the summer.
Not bad.
Doesn't have to be expensive champagne. I'm low maintenance.
Andre.
No, not Andre. Let's not go that low.
All right. Well, I'm still trying to convince you to come to DC to bet at Preakness with me. So.
Oh, when is that?
This weekend, Pimlico. So.
Wait, what do you mean this weekend?
It is this weekend. I know you're gonna be in Philly. But
wait, Saturday or Sunday?
It should be Saturday.
I can't.
Sorry. Yeah, it should be Saturday.
If it's Saturday, I can't. If it was Sunday, I can drive down from Philly.
Well, I'll for sure find out. If you guys bet on the races, then you guys should follow Preakness. But I think this is it until Tone's next interview, which should be a lot of fun. Maybe he'll clean up his apartment. Probably not. Everybody have a great day.
Bye, guys.